こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、サッカー日本代表に関する動画です。サムライブルーは、今回の11月の代表期間で、ガーナとボリビアと対戦する予定です。おなじみのデッドボール TV のジャックは、今回もプレビューをしていますが、今回も日本の部分のみを切り取っています。対戦相手に少し物足りなさを感じそうですが、いずれの試合も3対0や4対0で日本が勝つと予想しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
In this video, I'm going to be talking about almost everything happening inside Asia during the November window. And I say almost because, number one, I'm not going to touch on Iraq versus UAE. That's probably going to be a separate video. I'm also going live for those games, so you have that to look forward to. I'm not going to talk about the random friendlies such as Singapore versus Thailand or whatever's going down because I don't care. There's too much other stuff going on. No one's going to take that seriously anyways. And you guys don't want to hear me preview that game. And number three, I'm not going to talk about the Asian Cup qualifiers match day 5 because I find the games kind of boring. And I feel like most of the storylines are for match day 6, which I will be doing a video about in the future, but not today. I have a terrible headache. I'm sitting here making this video for you guys because I know a lot of you enjoy these long-form, all-encompassing Asian videos on the channel, and so I want to make that for you guys. So the energy is going to be a little bit low. I apologize. I'm doing what I can here. I really do want to get this out in time before the game starts. So I'm going to go through this national team by national team in no particular order. I'm going to give a preview. Who are they playing? What's going on with the squad? What are my predictions? What are some things I want to see? And I'll sprinkle some fun facts in there because you guys know that I love fun facts. I love historical facts about football. I studied history in college. That's what I do here on Deadball TV. If you guys want to see a more comprehensive, analytical, takeaway style video about anybody in Asia, make sure you are subscribed because I will be doing so after the November window, and of course I will be covering all of the Asian nations up until the 2026 World Cup and beyond. So hit subscribe for all that. Smash the like button if you could. Your boy could use a little extra boost today. Let's go ahead and get into this. We'll start with Japan and South Korea because they are going to be playing Ghana and Bolivia, so the exact same situation as in October when they played Paraguay and Brazil, and they just kind of flip-flopped. So the East Asian Giants, they're running it back, but this time with the Ghana Black Stars and Bolivia from CONMEBOL. Japan's squad, there are a couple omissions because the bubonic plague went through the Japanese locker room a couple months ago, and they're still recovering, but it's a very strong team. It's one of the strongest teams they've had in a while, in my opinion. Itakura back in the squad, so I expect him and Watanabe to be the center backs. Finally get to play together for the Samurai Blue. Kubo's in the team. Wataru Endo's back from injury. Nakamura, Doan, Sano, Tanaka. It's a stacked team. Ogawa. The biggest omissions are probably Mitoma, Tomiyasu, if he ever plays again, Junya Ito, and Saiyan Suzuki did have to withdraw. But there's no personnel excuses for Japan this time around. I found the most interesting storyline from a personnel standpoint for Japan to be the fact that Taishi Nozawa has been called up to the national team for the first time, and so has Kokubo, who you guys will know. I covered him when I watched Japan at the, I can't remember if it was the U20 or the U23 Asian Cup where he was a beast. So I am really expecting both Kokubo and Nozawa to get one game each in this window, and I think it's going to be a great experience. Hopefully they actually face a couple shots. I'm not sure what Bolivia is going to generate offensively, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Versus Ghana, this is going to be an interesting game because Ghana do not have Mohamed Kudus, they don't have Thomas Partey, they don't have Jordan Ayew, who you can make the argument have been their 3 most important players in the last year. So these are huge losses for Ghana, and it's kind of lowering the stakes a little bit of this game. Just to highlight how important these guys are. So Mohamed Kudus has a goal or assist in 4 of the last 5 games for the Ghanaian national team. And Jordan Ayew, in his last 9 games for Ghana, has 5 goals and 9 assists. That is absolutely ridiculous. So there's a lot of firepower, there's a lot of goals, there's a lot of dynamism that was just sucked out of this team. And they're already having to travel to Asia. And there's probably another defender that's missing as well that I'm not sure about. The point is Japan should win this game, and they should win by multiple goals. Like this, there's no excuse for Japan here. Last African opponent for Japan was Tunisia on October 2023, so that was just over 2 years ago. Last time Ghana showed up for the Kirin Cup, it was a very routine 4-1 victory for Japan. It could have been more. I'm not really expecting that big of an ass whooping this time, but I'm expecting a Japan 3-0, 2-0 minimum, something like that. Ghana is a strong defensive team. They have a clean sheet in 6 of their last 8 games, and we know that Japan sometimes struggles against the more elite defensive teams in the world of football. I wouldn't call Ghana elite, but I would say they're pretty solid. I would say they're a good defensive team, but they're missing a lot of their counterattacking threat here. And I think if Japan can score 2 goals against Paraguay, they need to be looking at 2 goals minimum against Ghana here. So I'm actually going to go with the 3-0 here for Japan. The Bolivia game, shockingly, Bolivia, if you guys don't know, they're the biggest home merchants in all of world football. They play most of their home games in 10,000 plus foot elevation, where the opposition basically dies because they can't breathe and they just pass out, and Bolivia wins 1-0. Bolivia, though, did actually beat Japan away from home, and they did so recently in 2019 in a friendly in Kobe. I wouldn't look too much into that because I was looking at the starting 11 for Japan in that game, and only Daichi Kamada is a still relevant figure in the national team from that entire 11. So it might have just been a Moriyasu J-League masterclass is what I'm saying here. I think Japan must absolutely slaughter Bolivia here. I'm a little pissed off that Jordan rotated when they played Bolivia last time, because Bolivia, I want them and I want South Americans to see how good Asian football is, and I felt like it was a huge disservice. So I'm picking Japan 4-0 in this game. I'm going aggressive here. Keep the clean sheet as well. Keep the clean sheet as well. I don't want to see any Bolivian goals in this one.
次は解説です。今回はスラングや口語で使うもの、少し汚い表現などもありましたので、使う場合はご注意ください。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。These long-form, all-encompassing Asian videos on the channel.
インコンパスは、ある範囲や要素を全体的に含んでいることを表すフォーマルな動詞です。例えば、授業が文法と会話を含んでいるというように使えます。日常会話ではあまり使われませんが、ビジネス英語や学術的な文章では品質する重要な語彙です。また、山に囲まれていると言いたいときにも、地理的に取り囲むという意味で使えます。インクルードに近いですが、より包括的、全体的なニュアンスを持ちます。トイックや英検、大学入試などの長文読解で出てくる可能性が高い語なので、しっかり覚えておきましょ
う。These long-form, all-encompassing Asian videos on the channel. These long-form, all-encompassing Asian videos on the channel. Japan squad, there are a couple of missions.
大ミッションは省略、抜け、見落としという意味を持つ名詞で、何かが本来あるべき場所に存在していないことを表します。スポーツの文脈ではこの動画のように、代表からの落選者や選ばれなかった選手として使われることがあります。また、ビジネスや法律では、すべきことをしなかった、イコール、不作為としての意味合いもあり、行動だけでなく、行動しないことにも責任が問われる場合に使われます。
Japan squad, there are a couple omissions. Japan squad, there are a couple omissions because the bubonic plague went through the Japanese locker room.
ブボニックプラークは、センペストという感染症を指す医学用語です。これは歴史的にも非常に有名で、14世紀のヨーロッパで数千万人の命を奪った黒死病、つまりブラックデスの主な原因でした。感染は飲みを媒介にして広がり、人から人へは飛沫や接触でも感染することがあります。現在では抗生物質で治療できるものの、依然として世界の一部地域で発生例があります。この動画では、単純に感染する病気として、怪我人が大量発生していることを表しています。ニュースや歴史に関する英文で出てくる単語なので、覚えておくと理解が深まります。
Because the bubonic plague went through the Japanese locker room. Because the bubonic plague went through the Japanese locker room. And it's kind of lowering the stakes a little bit of this game.
ローアーザステークスという表現は、状況の重大さや緊張感を下げるという意味の比喩的な言い回しです。もともと、ステークスは、ギャンブルの掛け金や勝負にかかっているものを表します。そこから転じて、ある出来事や試合などで、かかっているものが少なくなったや、プレッシャーが下がったといった場面で使います。例えばこの動画の場面のように、主力選手が欠場する試合では、勝っても負けても意味が薄れるので、ステークス、つまり、重要性が下がる、というわけです。 この表現は日常会話でもニュースやスポーツ解説でもよく使われますので、ぜひ覚えておきましょう。
And it's kind of lowering the stakes a little bit of this game. And it's kind of lowering the stakes a little bit of this game. I'm not really expecting that big of an ass whooping this time.
フープは主に大きな歓声を上げるや興奮して叫ぶといった意味で使われる感情を表す口語表現です。スポーツの試合で得点が入った瞬間やサプライズで喜んだ時などにわーい、イエーといった叫びを英語で表現するときにフープが使われます。発音はウープやフープに近く、アメリカ英語では特に頻繁に耳にします。一方で、スラング的にフープサムワンズアスで何かをボコボコにするのようにやっつけるという意味でも使われますが、この場合は文脈に注意が必要です。口語表現として覚えておくと、映画やドラマでも理解しやすくなります。
I'm not really expecting that big of an ass whooping this time. I'm not really expecting that big of an ass whooping this time. I think Japan must absolutely slaughter Bolivia here.
スラウターは、もともと動物や人間を大量に殺すという非常に強い意味を持つ単語ですが、スポーツや競争などの文脈では、一方的に圧勝するやボロ勝ちするという比喩的な意味でもよく使われます。例えば、サッカーの試合で6対0など大差で勝った時に、俺たちは相手を完膚なきまでに倒したと表現するときに使われることがあります。ただし、虐殺などの非常にシリアスな意味でも使われるため、文脈によっては過激に聞こえる単語です。日常会話では比喩的な意味合い、ニュースや歴史的文脈では文字通りの意味で登場することが多いです。感情を強く表す単語として覚えておくと、英語の理解力がぐっと広がります。
I think Japan must absolutely slaughter Bolivia here. I think Japan must absolutely slaughter Bolivia here.
いかがでしたか？ガーナは今回メンバー外となったジョーダン・アユー、トーマス・パーティー、そして特にモハメド・クドゥスがいないことは大きく、彼らがいれば全く違うチームになると思いますが、それでも日本が圧倒的に勝てそうだと期待しているようです。多少の楽しみとしては、プレミアリーグでも屈指のアタッカーとなり、かつて対戦した橋岡大樹も菅原由成も鎌田大地さえもプレミアリーグで対戦し、驚いた選手として挙げていたアントワーヌ・セメーニョが見れることだと思います。リバプール相手にも個人で打開しまくっていたセメーニョが日本をどれだけ翻弄するのか、個人で打開してくるのか、楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。